myself Dr. Anuj Kumar Purwar from School of Engineering and Technology, New Delhi. Welcome to all in lecture 2 Pollutant Sources and Effects. Here in this slide we are seeing a lot of negative things. We don't want to see these things. So this is the, we can say in short term, this is the pollutant. Now what is the pollutant? Again here we are seeing a person throwing something on barren land or empty land. A drain is seen is in this picture, and a lot of different types of stack are here which are emitting the smoke in the atmosphere. So a pollutant is a substance or energy introduced into the environment that has undesired effects or adversely affects the usefulness of a resource. A pollutants may cause long or short term damage by changing the growth rate of plant or animal species or by interfering with human amenities, comfort, health, or property value. According to the sources of origin, these are two types of pollutants: natural sources and man-made sources. Natural sources includes volcano eruptions, forest or wildfires of natural vegetation, sulfur springs, natural geysers where we are getting the hot water, organic and inorganic decays, cosmic dust, pollen grains of flowers, photochemical reaction, soil debris, etc. These are the natural sources. Man-made sources. These include human activities such as industries, factories, nuclear experiments, automobiles, agriculture, burning of fossil fuels, mining, waste treatment plants, and power plant. So in this picture we are seeing in left side there are natural pollutants entering in the atmosphere by the volcano eruption or the burning of the vegetation. In second right side picture we are seeing artificial pollutants which are entering in the atmosphere or environment by stack through the stack or by the transportation system. Here is the some natural or anthropogenic pollutants in case of water. In water there are a lot of solid waste or bottles are seen in this picture, so they are forming the man-made pollutants. And in second picture there is water is in green red color. This is known as the red algae. Actually this is not the algae, but water color is red due to the natural way. So this is the natural pollutant. According to the state of matter, there are two types. We can say there are two types of pollutant: gaseous pollutant. These pollutants exist in a gaseous state at normal temperature and pressure. Because temperature and pressure is important in case of gases, because in another temperature or pressure gas may convert into the liquid also. They are, for example, carbon dioxide, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, all are the gaseous pollutants. Particulate pollutants, they are suspended droplets, solid particles, or mixture of the two. According to the origin, these are two types: primary pollutants and secondary pollutants. The pollutants that are emitted directly from identifiable sources produced by natural events such as dust storms and volcanic eruptions, and human activities such as the emission from vehicles, industries, etc. are called primary pollutants. Example of primary pollutants are smoke, dust, oxides of sulfur and nitrogen, hydrocarbons, and particulate matter. Secondary pollutants, the pollutants that are formed in the atmosphere by chemical interaction between primary pollutants and atmospheric constituents, are known as the secondary pollutant. Example of secondary pollutant: sulfuric acid, which generated by the ejection of the sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere. Nitric acid, carbonic acid, also generated with the help of the primary pollutant like carbon dioxide and nitrogen dioxide when reacted in the atmosphere respectively. This picture shows the primary pollutants: carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxide, nitrogen dioxide, most hydrocarbons, most suspended particles. These are under category of the primary pollutant. In secondary pollutant, this is the nitric acid, sulfuric acid, ozone, hydrogen peroxides, and salts. These are the secondary pollutants. From an ecological perspective, these are three types of pollutants: degradable or non-persistent pollutants. These can be rapidly broken down by natural processes, for example, domestic sewage, discarded vegetables. Slowly degradable or persistent pollutants, these are the pollutants that remain in the environment for many years in an unchanged condition and take decades or longer to degrade, but finally they degrade. So example, DDT, this is one of the type of pesticides, and most plastics. Non-degradable pollutants, these pollutants cannot be degraded by natural processes. Once they are released into the environment, they are difficult to eradicate and continue to accumulate. Example of these non-degradable pollutants are toxic elements like lead or mercury or other types of nuclear waste. Based on conservation, two category: conservative pollutants and non-conservative pollutants. Conservative pollutants are not only normally physically or chemically transformed to non-toxic substances in the receiving water, for example, salts and metals. Conservative pollutants tend to be stable, long-lived compounds that persist within the environment. Non-conservative pollutants are transformed to non-toxic substances through physical, chemical, or biological processes in the receiving water. Example: biochemical oxygen demand, ammonia. Non-conservative pollutants can transform or degrade into other compounds, but the rate of transformation depends on the physical, chemical, and biological conditions occurring within the receiving water environment. Knowledge of the conservative or non-conservative nature of a pollutant can be important, especially when determining whether a particular waste load allocation or modeling strategy can be used to establish effluent limits protective of water quality. Based on the absorptive capacity, these are two types: fund pollutants and stock pollutants. Fund pollutants are those for which the environment has the moderate absorptive capacity. Fund pollutants do not cause damage to the environment unless the emission rate exceeds the receiving environment's absorptive capacity. For example, carbon dioxide, which is absorbed by plants and ocean. So there is a balance between these two types in this fund pollutant. Stock pollutants are those for which the environment has low absorptive capacity. Example: non-biodegradable plastic and heavy metals. Stock pollutants accumulate in the environment over time. So these are about the pollutants classification. Now comes on the pollution. pollution in this category first come littering. Littering in general sense we can say solid waste. When waste product generated by humans is not disposed of properly, then it is known as the littering. Here, waste can include anything that is discarded by humans after use, like bottles, glass, packaging materials, electronic waste, metal waste, etc. Some of these pollutants like electronics, batteries, tires, etc. are hazardous to the health of the environment. When chemicals from such waste leach into the soil or enter the water bodies, they cause soil contamination and create the underground or surface water pollution. Finally, these chemicals enter the bodies of organisms to cause disease and even in severe cases death. In this picture, we are seeing a dead bird. After on detecting their body, there are a lot of the littering available in their stomach or their body. Radioactive contamination. When radioactive substances are present in areas where their presence is undesirable or unintended, then this is the radioactive contamination. Such substances are highly toxic to all life on Earth. Radioactive substances trigger mutations in the genetic materials of living organisms, leading to different types of cancer. Exposure to such toxin can also adversely impact the different system of the body. Death or disfiguration are common effects of exposure. Irresponsible management of such waste or radioactive disaster are the common cause of radioactive contamination. In this figure, we are seeing a first figure a child has two mouths, and in second figure we are seeing a child having three hands. So these are all the genetic effects due to the radioactive contamination. Water pollution. Contamination of water bodies like lakes, rivers, ponds, aquifers, etc. by pollutants is called water pollution. It can have extremely disastrous consequences for all living beings using the contaminated water. Toxic waste released by industries, pathogens released in sewage, harmful chemicals present in agriculture runoff are some of the top water pollutants. In agriculture activities, we are using the different type of pesticides or insecticides, and we are using the fertilizer for more growth of the agriculture product. So when they once enter mix with the water and run through the runoff, they enter the either surface water or entering in the groundwater and create the water pollution. The contamination of water can lead to epidemics that can wipe out the pollution of an entire species or even more than one species. Water pollution has a highly adverse impact on the environment, society, and economy of a place. This picture we are seeing a water wastewater coming from through the pipe and entering in the water body. There different water creatures are available. In that creature, fishes available and unable to take the breathe in that dirty water. So he is trying to kept your on water bottle to take the respiration process. Visual pollution. Everyone loves to see clean and green spaces and beautiful vistas. When human activities install ugly barriers to this vision of open and cluster-free landscape, it is called the visual pollution. The installation of billboards along the roadside, open storage of trash in open or areas or vacant lands, networks of electric wires crisscrossing each other above the street, etc., create the visual pollution. This type of pollution generates distraction, eye fatigues, diversity in opinions, and other psychological problems. In this picture, in our picture, there are a lot of beautiful sceneries: a Taj Mahal, old buildings, hills with the snow. There is the water bodies we are seeing in this picture. All create the aesthetic view and give the positive psychological effects in human. And below there are the number of billboards are along the street lines, and they are crisscross of the wires, electric wires or different wires used in others activities. So these are creating the visual pollution. Thermal pollution and induce a change in the temperature of large volume of water causes thermal pollution. This type of pollution lead to the degradation of water quality, as the warm water does not provide ideal living conditions for aquatic flora and fauna. In increased water temperature, the flora and fauna who are not habitual in that water and temperature condition, they may die or having the other health effects. For example, when water used as a coolant in power plant or that used in industries is released into a natural water body, the warm or hot water mixes with the rest of the water to raise the overall temperature of the aquatic system. Higher temperature also alter the composition of dissolved element in water. Like the when temperature increases in any water body, so there is a dissolved oxygen available in that water body. This is leaving the water and entering in the atmosphere. So there is the shortage of water, dissolved oxygen in that water body. In shortage of these dissolved oxygen, the creatures available in that water body unable to take sufficient oxygen for their respiration, so they may damage or die in short period of time or in a day or two. This is picture is showing the some ocean creature which are dying in the effect of this thermal pollution, which is creating the problem in the water body. Plastic pollution. Initially we were talking about the littering, that the solid waste. Under the solid waste, this plastic pollution also come, but when we are talking about the littering, this is different terms, and now we are talking about the plastic pollution. As the name suggests, plastic pollution is caused by plastic accumulation in the environment. Plastic, a non-biodegradable substance, is extremely harmful to all life on the earth. Ingestion of plastics or enlargement in plastic object, entanglement in plastic objects kill these animals. Most of the plastic waste generated in the world end up in the ocean, where they cause great harm to the marine ecosystem. In this picture we are seeing a animal eating the plastic because this animal is smelling food in available in that plastic, and this animal will consume this plastic, and finally this will damage the health of this animal, or finally he may die. Noise pollution. When the environment is filled with unnecessary or unpleasant sounds that are harmful to animals and plants, it is called noise pollution. Transport vehicles, machinery, industries, loud music, people yelling, etc. are some of the most common sources of noise pollution. This type of pollution on the long term can give rise to chronic diseases like cardiovascular diseases. The, the psychological health of people can also be affected by noise. But in case of noise, we cannot say all people will affected by the loud music. For some person, it may be the harmful and having the psychological health effect, but few people will enjoying this loud music in some extent. So this person is trying to sleep, but there are a lot of music from the disco, neighbors dog barking, industrial production noise, moving and honking vehicle, and aeroplanes flying over. So he is unable to sleep and directly indirectly having other psychological effect due to the non sleep situation. Light pollution. The pollution of the night environment by anthropogenic light is known as the light pollution. This type of pollution is caused by an excess lighting of the street, floodlights used in the stadium, light used in an industrial area, etc. The negative effects of the light pollution include the spoilage of the aesthetic environment of a place, creating disturbances in the ecosystem and also harming the health of living creature. In this picture, we are seeing birds, mammals, reptiles, amphibians, and the humans. In case of humans, there are different effects than the mammals. In case of mammals, they have the effects to find their prey as a food, because there is lot of light is available, so he cannot able to hide themselves. In case of birds, birds unable to follow their route to go back home due to this anthropogenic light. In case of reptiles, there are chances of the loss of the reproduction, and in same situation amphibians, they also having the loss of the reproduction activity in case of this anthropogenic light pollution. Air pollution. Air pollution refers to the release of pollutants like toxic gases, biological molecules, and particulate matter into the atmosphere. The pollutants can be derived from several resources, including both natural processes and human activity. Such pollution can be highly detrimental to the health and well-being of all life forms on the earth. In about the details in air pollution, we will look into the upcoming lectures. Soil contamination. When the soil of an area is contaminated, it leads to soil pollution or land degradation. The soil is essential to the growth of all pollutants, including crops. Thus, a degradation in the soil quality translates to lower yield and poor health of crop grown on such soil. Industrial and agricultural chemicals are the common pollutants contaminating the soil. Once the crop produced in that contaminated soils, and after we consume the product of these from these crops, they may give the negative health effect in human body directly or indirectly. So it is all about the pollutants, and different sources and effects. So in next lecture, we will discuss about the in detail air pollution. Thank you.